When young I did frequent doctor and saint, and heard much argument about it and about it all, but evermore came out by that same door, wherein I went. And when I went into the church, I went in the main front door and I slipped out the back. Many churches. I don't know how many times I and whichever wife I had went into the ministry and came out again. Yep. I've been to a Baptist college, a Brethren college, Bible college, a very liberal Christian college. You name it, I've done it. And churches, oh goodness. Been in them all. Religions, I've been in them all. I've belonged to Baptist, Pentecostal, Methodist, Salvation Army, Anglican, Saturday Fellowship, Seventh-day Adventist. Am I boasting or am I appalling you? Depends how you see it. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. I've taught in every type of school in England. Lectured in most of the universities of New Zealand and Essex, and done research at the LSE. Belong to all sorts of other religions, Theosophical Society, Ananda Organisation, Paramahansa Yogananda, and goodness knows what else. But evermore came out by that same door wherein I went. What was I devoted to originally? Well, Mum. And you wouldn't have thought that was a good background to being devoted to truth. But Mum was extremely secularly realistic, courageous in a reckless way. More like the Helen of Troy or the leader of the revolution, you know, and the brains behind it in particular. She was very able and extremely good memory. Borrowed a set of encyclopedias in her youth off a doctor friend of hers and started to read it from beginning to end. At one point he said, "Could I have them back now? You've had them a while." She said, "I haven't finished reading them yet." She was extremely quick of mind, on her feet. Her verbal ability was better than mine. Well, I think so. It certainly was then. But the female of the species is more deadly than the male. Yep. I learned that in life too. But I was told it early on and I could believe it. I'd seen my mum in action. Yeah. So I was, 16, 17-year-old at college, and in my spare time for hours and hours, in spite of studying very hard. I would then read Plato in the reference library in the town, seaside town, England, Essex, Southend-on-Sea. Step out into the street, and I'd been in this Greek environment, ancient Greek environment, for hours. And it was, the world around me just astonished me when I went out into the town. Just seemed so unreal, as if I was an observer. I was devoted to truth as I understood it, which was, in fact, logical reasoning and discourse, Platonic. I thought it would be the solution to everything. You know, they say God is truth. Well, the secular with Pilate say, what is truth? And that's surprising, because you would think that the secular, not knowing love, not knowing God, love of God anyway, they know human love. I think that's a misstatement. Let me restate that. Well, you would think that the secular run with Pilate, what is truth? But Plato didn't. I mean, it may have been a story written by a Platonic person, but Plato in his discourses worshipped truth. There's a chap called Jason Reza Georgiani who thinks that, well, really, that sort of discourse was a plant, a Persian plant, to corrupt society, to give them such a ridiculous view of God that no way would they believe in God. And be in consequence, I suppose, well, so it seems to have a double sort of reasoning, really, that religion is the control by the state, but it's a corrupt control, because, of course, it serves, well, it serves an entity which I would say was not human. You can think of the autocrat at the top of the state, the emperor, as extremely human. But he comes and goes. You know, he could be assassinated tomorrow, and the next autocrat take his place. Where was I? Hang on a minute. Let me review. Let me say incidentally that it's when I turn over and think, oh, well, I've listened to my recordings long enough now, I think I'll take a rest. I've got time for a short sleep, perhaps, or rest before I get up. And then something comes to me, oh, and I should say that. It's an amazing pattern that seems to come on me. Oh, when young I did frequent doctor and saint, and heard much argument about it and about it all. And yes, I did come out by that same door wherein I went. And you could say in a strange way it's because I felt the truth more than knew it. You see, love was what was driving me, and I was determined to be utterly faithful, not like my parents. I would have one wife. She didn't have to be beautiful, just a wonderful companion. Well, of course, I was a young man. I mean, it's not that I didn't want to make love. All these drives on a young man, aren't there? Oh, good job, too. I don't think the race would continue otherwise. It wouldn't be where it is today. You say, but it's in chaos. Yes, but it's to purpose. We trust in God. It's a great learning situation. And so it was that God was not truth at all. Truth was not God. Much argument has been about truth. There's no argument about love, against which there is no law. Kindness, creativity, support, blessing, help, rescue, love. There's no law against that. No constraint. It's as unbounded as life is. It is who God is. It's a God of love. And yes, certainly He's capable and, all-knowing and truth and so on and so forth. But what counts is that He's our dad. And if He isn't, well, we would be desperate. I'm not believing in that. That would be shattering disaster in itself. For my name is Hope, and I've taken the name of Hope in ignorance, of course, but by the grace of God, I find my surname is Hope. Without hope, there's no life. He is the God of life. Eternal life. That's why negativity destroys life. If you're negative, you don't trust in the love of God. So you're without hope and you wither away. But for the grace of God rescuing you. And in the story, Jesus is the rescue. He tells us, oh, Dad, God is your dad. Your heavenly dad. Get that right, and you'll have life, life abundant, life eternal. Read John 17. It says it better than Marshall. Even adulterated as it is, mangled by 2,000 years of decay, it still says it clearly enough to touch your heart and rescue you into life, fullness of life, life eternal. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.